idea of who and what we are through the dimensions. You know, our human ego lives on this three-dimensional plane, but we exist on many dimensions. Some people say there are 9 dimensions, some people say 12. I think it's probably infinite how many dimensions there are, not to mention the parallel universes. That's a whole other message, right? But the human ego exists right here on this third-dimensional plane. And there's many definitions for the human ego, what that means. But this is Anne Marie's 25-cent definition. You can take it or leave it. I like to think of the human ego as that individual, unique aspect of God, because we're all expressions of the divine, that thinks it's separate. And so the human ego on this third-dimensional plane thinks it's separate and thinks this is it, not knowing the oneness, the all-dimensional beings that we truly are. And so we're pulled in 2 different directions in every moment. Our angels keep pulling us higher and higher into the spirit realm, into those higher dimensional states of being. And our ego wants to keep us here. And that pull, it's almost like, remember the cartoons? I grew up with cartoons. On Saturday morning, you have your cereal with cartoons. Anybody here grew up like that? Am I the only old lady here? Okay, good. And remember, they had an angel and a devil on each shoulder. And the angel would say, do this, and the devil would say, do that. And the angel always had something good, and the devil always had something bad. Well, it's kind of like that, except our ego is not the devil. Our ego is just that part of us that thinks this is it, and that we're separate, so it gets into fear and separation thinking. But there's that constant pull between the two, and in every moment, we decide which way we're going to go. Now, right now, if you've noticed in the world, maybe you haven't noticed, but the human ego is rampant. It's almost like, remember Ghostbusters, the visual of all those little green ghosts that are running around, boo, boo, running around. And the human ego is rampant. Not just the politicians, but everybody's ego. If you have an ego, and if you're alive and in physical form, you have an ego, and your ego issues, if you're like me, have to be in front of you. Everybody's is right now. So you have to go around, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters, right? That's a whole other subject. Anyway, so how do you know if you're living from that egoic state or that higher state? Well, the hint is where the ego is programmed by those senses, so it's making decisions from fear and separation. And the human ego, it's all about moi. It's all about me. Anybody here ever go there? It's all, I'm going to take everything personally because it's all about me. Or the human ego gets into power struggles or control issues. Anybody here have any control issues? One honest person at a time. I honor that. And the human ego always feels a little denied, deprived, persecuted, and abused. 1, 2, 3, all together, all. And the human ego feels vulnerable. The higher self knows better. But the human ego is afraid that something could happen to it without the higher self's permission. No wonder why it feels vulnerable and doesn't like that feeling. Now, it's also interesting, with all the egoic things going on the planet right now, that you have the most popular speaker on the iPod list lately is a woman by the name of Brene Brown, who talks about the power of vulnerability. Has anybody here listened to Brene Brown? She's wonderful. And she talks about the power of being vulnerable because you're open and free and accepting that whatever comes to you is going to be for your highest good. But the ego is so afraid of it. Something might happen to me that I'm not in control of. I think that's why in the scripture Paul says, I die daily. Now he's not talking about the physical body, obviously, but he meant his egoic self is dying daily. And we're not here to say you have to destroy your ego. No, your ego is that individual, unique expression of the divine. It's to be honored and blessed, but to reprogram it, as Jesus said, with the truth that sets you free. So we're not about destroying the ego, but reprogramming it with the truth that sets you free, and then allowing your divine nature to come forth. Does that sound good? Does it sound good?
Yes.
So, yeah. So how do you die to your ego self? Well, through your spiritual practice, but first you have to stay out of the fear. And I love the scripture that says, abide in me. Abide in that divine aspect. Abide in the divine. And surrender and let go of the struggle and the control. Now, the ego doesn't surrender easily. Some people are afraid of surrender. Some people can't stand it when I preach on surrender. So anybody here getting crackled and tensing up because I use the word? Because the ego thinks what? Something can happen to it without its higher self's permission. So we have to empower ourselves with our divine nature, with knowing who we are. And then when the world says, oh, you're going to die this year, there's a lot of virus going around. When the world says, oh, there's shortages out there, you're going to die of starvation. When the world says this and that, we have to say, whoops, I'm going to live above that. As Jesus said, be in the world but not of it. You can all have your little drama down here. I'm going to live above that in gratitude, in love. I'm going to think higher thoughts above those thoughts of fear. I'm going to speak higher words above those words of fear. Abide in me, abide in that higher place. And that takes a little help from your friends, doesn't it? And the greatest friends we have are our angels. I love to talk about angels, and every year around holiday time, I love to talk about angels. Not everybody believes in the little fluffy whites, but I love the little fluffy whites. How many here believe in angels? Oh, good, I'm in a good crowd. You're not going to throw tomatoes, are you? Okay, so I'm going to be like Tinkerbell. Can you say, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe? And those who don't, can you say, I'm open to believing? Can you say that? I'm open to believing. So again, our angels are above the third dimension. They're probably on the sixth and above dimensions. And in unity, the metaphysical definition of angels, because some people don't like the fluffy whites, the metaphysical definition, our angels are divine ideas that come to us in whatever way we can accept them. So if you're intellectual and like that better, you go ahead with that. Me, I'm going to stay with the fluffy whites, okay? So our angels know we're one with source and substance. We are whole and perfect in that divine idea of us. Each of us has an angel. Each of us has a divine idea of the mind of God creating us through this divine idea of you and you and you. And our angel is that divine idea of our wholeness, our perfection. But the ego keeps pulling us down. You know, my angel's up there with this great being of light that is God's idea of me. And I'm down here looking like this, you know, because we're working on it. We're evolving. So our angels keep pulling us up into that joy, and our egos keep pulling us down into the drama and the chaos of the world. Abide in me. Abide in me. This week I had an angelic experience. It just came out of the blue. I was in my recliner, kind of dozing off, half awake, half asleep. And I was feeling, it was one of those beautiful Cookville fall days. Isn't it beautiful out there this week? And I was feeling the joy of fall. I happen to love fall. And I had memories of that growing up on the farm where you were really one with nature. And I could just feel the fall. And I was in such joy. And all of a sudden I felt a light pulling me up higher and higher into that joy. And then I started to intellectualize it. I started thinking, oh my goodness, my angel is pulling me. I'm melding with my angel. And as soon as I gave it intellectual thought, I came back. And I was here again, and I couldn't recreate it. I couldn't go back and latch onto it. But I was reminded once again that constant pull of our angels, however you want to view them, as divine ideas, as fluffy whites, however you want to see them, pulling us higher, and our ego keep wanting us to get down into the world. What it said on TV today, the video says we have to be in fear. That constant pull. And angels are here to help us evolve the human ego into its divine nature. And our angels also guide and protect us. God help me if I had to drive my car without an angel's help. I'd never make it home at night. Those who have been with me in the car know what I'm talking about. Angels always help, but they say you have to ask. Although I've had times when angels have helped me when I haven't asked. They're always there for me. I think I must have more than one, and I think they work overtime on me. But usually angels won't interfere without our asking because we have free will. So imagine, if you will, that you're living your life, and you have this huge team of experts waiting for you to ask, but you don't ask, you ignore them. Can you imagine how frustrating that must be for the angels? They come to us in whatever way we can receive them. And through some, it is through the intellect. You know, the cartoons, back to cartoons again. That's where I get all my wisdom. Remember the old light bulb that used to come on? The cartoon character would have a light bulb come on? Well, sometimes that happens through our intellectual reasoning. But I don't know about you, but a lot of times an idea will just pop into my head. An answer for something I've been praying about will just pop in. And I had nothing to do with it. I did not reason that out. My angels popped it into my head. They do it all the time. When you're open to receive. Repeat with me, I'm willing to be open. I'm willing to be open. I believe, I believe. I believe, I believe. And they can come to you through that inner voice, that still small voice. Or they can come through an outer sign, an outer experience. Anybody remember the old gospel song, Hush, Hush, somebody's calling my name? If you ever hear your name being called, it's probably your angel. That happens to people at times. I heard my name being called and there was no one there. One of our, you know, Michael and I love movies and TV. One of our favorite old series was Joan of Arcadia. Do you remember Joan of Arcadia? She was a young teenage girl that talked to God through other people that would come up to her. And it was God talking to her. That was how she experienced God. And remember the song from that TV series, what if God were one of us? Just a stranger on the bus trying to find its way home. Or a clerk in a store. Or someone you pass on the street, or maybe somebody new who came in today. What if it was an angel, here to bless us in some way? Out of the blue, somebody shows up. Out of the blue. In Hebrews 13:2, we're reminded, do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. What if somebody came in today that's an angel here to bless us? Me. Angels can come to you in whatever way you can accept them. The Native Americans believe in power animals. Their animals come to them. Do you have a totem animal that when you see that animal, you know it's a message for you? Mine is a wolf or a horse or a Pegasus. Nature spirits are out there really. Those are angels for the natural world. You can hear a song on the radio, hear something on TV, read something in a book, hear a line of poetry that speaks to you, awakens you. It's your angel bringing that message to you in a way that you will accept it. And we can communicate with our angels, call them forth to help through prayer. The story of Jacob's ladder, where the angels, he's in a dream and the angels are going up the ladder and down the ladder. That's a metaphysical story of how our prayers are those ideas going up and the angels coming down are the messages from the divine, the answers coming down that ladder of consciousness. Happens all the time when we're open. Together, I'm open, I'm open, I'm open, I believe, I believe. how to connect. How do you connect with the angels? Well, you got to believe. And then ask. Ask for help. And then wait, and it will come to you in whatever way you can accept it. Don't think there's only one way to get that answer. Be open to any way. It can come through a child. It can come through an animal. It can come through anything. Those inner promptings, those outer signs. But when you ask, an answer always arrives. Now it helps if you avoid negative states of mind, because it's hard to get through us through negative states of mind. Sometimes I think like my angel is like Verizon. Can you hear me now? Get out of that negative. Can you hear me now? Shut the TV off. Can you hear me now? So you have to stay out of those toxic states of mind. And sometimes you have to stay away from people that are the complainers, the blamers, the judgers. And get out of worry and fear, negativity and stress. The song we sang this morning about gratitude was so perfect. When we practice those higher states of mind, which gratitude takes us to, gratitude and joy, lighten up, have fun, tell jokes. You can even tell angel jokes. Angels don't care. There's an old one that's been told so often it's not even funny anymore. You've probably heard it. Why do angels fly? Because they take themselves lightly, right? I found a new one this week that I like better. Why did the angel cross the road? To get to the other side. You can do that one. See how much lighter you feel when you laugh? You feel lighter. Angels can get through. Now there's actually controversies about angels. I love this part. Actually controversies. Where some people say angels are a separate group of species. People cannot become angels. Angels cannot manifest as people. They're a separate species. And other people say, no, angels are our higher selves. We're all evolving into that angel or divine idea of us. I don't care what you believe. Just be open to believing whatever. Swedenborg once said, souls gradually become angels. God's perfect form taking shape here as we perfect ourselves. Believe what you want. Just be open to their help, their messages. Excuse me, I have a frog today. Probably my angel trying to speak through me, and I'm not letting it. Share angel stories with each other. I know everybody here has had a time in your life when somebody just showed up out of the blue when you really needed them. I know everybody here has had an idea come to you out of the blue when you've needed an answer. I know everybody here has had that experience. And I've shared them before with you here, so I won't repeat our same old stories. But Michael and I both have had amazing experiences where we've been in pain or in the hospital or in some kind of problem, and somebody came and helped us, and afterwards we said, who was that person? And everybody said, there is no person here like that. You know, we knew it was our angel. The Bible is full of angels if you need a little background support. They're guardian angels, archangels. Michael the archangel, almost everybody believes in Michael. Even John Travolta believes in Michael. He oversees an army of angels, and people think that angels are too busy, those archangels must be too busy. But he's probably the one people go to the most because everybody believes in Michael, the archangel. But our personal angel will do just as well. You don't need a John Travolta type angel. You can call your personal angel. There are transporting angels. One that helped Peter free himself from prison. And metaphysically, again, that's our own angel trying to free us from the prison of our mind, the prison of our belief system, the prison of what we've gotten ourselves into with that lower state of consciousness. And our angels are constantly freeing us. Lazarus had an angel take him to heaven. Metaphysically, angels are constantly lifting us up into a higher state of life, higher state of being. Heaven is not a place, but a higher state of mind where we create a higher state of being. There are communicating angels like Gabriel, who announced the birth of Jesus to Mary. Talked to Joseph in a dream. Yeah, I know she's pregnant, but it's going to be okay. You're not married yet, it's all right. And we constantly are open to hearing those communicating messages. There are healing angels. In the Bible, the fourth archangel was Raphael. You see, a man named Tobit fell asleep outside, and I kid you not, a bird pooped in his eyes and he became blind. I don't write these stories, I just explain them. Look it up, it's in the old stuff. The guy's blind from a bird that pooped in his eye. And Angel Raphael was a healing instrument. So he's been called the healing angel. Now, angels don't escape red tape any more than we do. There are a hierarchy of angels, and all that means is every time you go up a dimension, you've got a different expression of those angels. They're called seraphim, cherubim, thrones, dominions, principalities, powers, virtues, archangels, angels. They are divine light, they are divine power, and they are us. The divine idea of each of us is a beautiful angel that we are here to grow into, to express, to allow their help, to help us to evolve. All we have to do is ask. Do you believe?
Yes.
Can you say, I believe one more time? I believe. Well, let's go into prayer. And let's take our focus away from this world of appearances. It's absolutely crazy out there. Why would we focus on what's going on in the world right now when we can say, I let it all go? I place my focus on those higher realms. And I open to and allow that higher angelic presence to lift me up above it all. I am in the world, but not of it. It's all going on around me, but I am so not affected by it. For with the help of the angels, I live, move, and have my being in that state of grace, in that divine nature that I'm here to express, to evolve into, to be. And I am so blessed here with you all you beautiful angels surround me. And I am so grateful in the nature of the Christ, and so it is. Amen.